All right. Hello, New Life Church. I'm so excited to be with you guys today, and I'm here with Melissa McGee. She is one of our awesome teachers within the church. She is one of our teachers at Vital, and she has kind of agreed to help us navigate these new waters of homeschooling all of our kids. If you have not checked out her Facebook, she already has her two boys like in it to win it. And so I really think that she's going to have some awesome feedback for us. So Melissa, is there anything you kind of want to start us off with before we get into some of these questions?
Sure. So I think that is a big thing right now. I think parents think that they're homeschooling and they're going to have to replicate the experience that their child is missing at school. And I think that's the biggest thing right now, to remember that you're not really homeschooling, you're sort of crisis schooling. So in the middle of a crisis, you're trying to give your kids some academic support. So it's totally different from homeschooling. So, because I know that we've seen all those homeschool things out there. So keep that in mind, that this is not really homeschooling. So no matter what you do, you cannot replicate the experience. And a couple things that I think are important is developing some sort of a daily schedule with your kids. Because, I mean, that means like having some movement time, because that's really good for the brain to kind of stimulate engagement in an activity. Having a regular bedtime somewhat. I think some kids are staying up till 11 or 12, and I think their little brains are really out of a structure. So it's been really helpful. Even my high school, junior high kids have a 9:30, 10 o'clock bedtime, and they don't love that. But on the weekdays, and then it's kind of nice, and then we can differentiate on the weekend. Like, then they can stay up and sleep way in. And so I think having some sort of a regular schedule, everyone is going to have a different looking schedule. So I'm certainly not here to tell you exactly what you should do as far as the schedule, but make it consistent, because kids, as we know, really do thrive on structure. And so adding that into their weekday kind of differentiates, I think, also the weekend time, to have some weekday schedule. Then that allows them to have this flexibility, and I can kind of be more of a weekend schedule. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I mean, that works for adults too. I'm an adult.
Yeah.
You have to do that. So
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I did want to say, I don't know if you guys know this. I think that the email is going to come out soon, but Albany County School District is doing a asynchronous model, which means that we as teachers are giving lessons and links and things that you can do with your student, and you do that whenever fits into your schedule. So there will not be scheduled Zoom meetings that are required to that your kid has to be there at 8 a.m. to watch a Zoom. There will be Zoom videos, but there's not going to be this synchronous is the other type. So this is asynchronous. You do it around your schedule. So I think that's important. I don't think we've kind of heard that yet from the district. So just so you know, you will be able to do this around your schedule. I also think making a work area for your kids is important. That work area might change. So it may be your dining room table during the day. And then in the evening, it's your kitchen table where you eat and where you do other things. But having the same work area, I think, is so important, because it really gets kids into this consistent learning zone. It kind of allows them to go, okay, now I'm in the work area, and now I have to do homework. And within that work area, as Dakota was speaking about, I think it's super important to have a schedule of completed assignments. Shadow, sorry, Shadow barking at something. But to have a schedule of completed assignments. And so I have Luke on this side and I have Jake on this side. And as you know, as I know, a lot of the parents have gotten a ton of emails about the different platforms. Like, some are using Canvas, some are using Schoology, and that is super stressful. I don't know what platform. Even for elementary, they're going to have this. What are they going to have? To be able to write it all out. And then over here is for what my kids need to do. So as you can see, Jake, yesterday he had to finish Shakespeare project. So when he gets home, I'm going to let him erase that because he finished that. And something like allowing the child to erase something, making a list of his assignments for the week, and then erasing it when he's done. I just think that is a powerful thing. It is for me. I'm a list person. So if you make a board of some kind, you may not be able to do it like this, but if you can find a way to make a board, a schedule that you can kind of write stuff down, because come tonight or tomorrow or Monday, you're going to probably get emails. I already have one email from a math teacher, and he has 7 assignments for next week. So when Luke gets home, I'm going to have him write his 7 assignments down. He's outside playing, but I'm going to have him write his 7 assignments down. And Shadow, no, sorry. Have him write his 7 assignments down, and then have him do the erasing and the writing and everything. And that is just giving him some buy-in, some independence, something that he's part of his learning, so that he kind of, when he does erase it, he feels good about it. So that's, I mean, I have a lot, which you'll see later when I share it, but I thought I would just start with that, and then I know that there's some questions out there. So
yes, there are, which I think you kind of already answered one, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask. So Hani was asking structuring to complete things with each child, because she's not going to be able to be home until 5:30 each day, and so obviously you've already kind of hit it's an at your own pace type thing, but do you have any answers more to that?
Yeah, so I know that she has 2 younger boys that are going to be in some sort of elementary curriculum, whatever that looks like for both of them. But if, and I don't know if she has 2 computers for them, but I know the district has computers. But so my recommendation would be that both of them have their own computer, and then she could, right when she gets off work, she could start it at 5:30. Yeah, the beauty of our system is you can do it whenever. So she could start, if there's a story, a read aloud, the computer's going to read it to them, just so you know. There will be no printed materials. There will be no, you won't have to go and find books, or you usually need a piece of paper and a pencil for most of what we're asking for kids to do. So Hani could work with one child, get them started. They could start the wit and wisdom, the lesson where they listen to the story. And then while they're doing that, my thought was she could then work with the other one, maybe start them on their lesson, and then while kind of be able to switch between back and forth. Because a lot of this, it's also been designed with the parents in mind, knowing that not all parents are going to be there when our students access this material. So knowing that, we designed it in a way that it will be so much better if a parent is there monitoring it, but they can somewhat move through the stuff on their own. There's links to push, there's videos to watch. But my thought was she could just kind of work with both of them at the same time. Does that help?
Yeah, no, yeah. I think that's a great one. And so we're going to just answer Pastor Matt's question really quickly, just so he feels that we did it. So what time do his kids need to arrive at your place each day?
Well, if they're bringing chuck wagon, they could come at noon. As long as they, you know what, breakfast though, I haven't had breakfast yet. So maybe breakfast from the chuck wagon daily would be about 9.
All right.
I don't know. Just that's funny. I don't think your kids would like me by the end of our school day. You should talk to the boys.
No, that's funny. I just wanted to get that out there.
Yes.
So some questions that Melanie had were, how do you structure your day? I get, you kind of already showed us the board that you have, but is there do you make the boys work, I guess, in a certain order of classes a day? Do they do the same thing they would have done at school, or, along that line?
So I should have grabbed, Michael made them a schedule. It's called the Zombie Apocalypse Schedule.
That's great.
Yes, let me grab it. I'll show you.
Awesome.
So anyways, this is the current schedule. I'll kind of read it to you, but the boys have this in their little work area, and on the fridge so that we can see it. We've kind of, I don't know, we started it last week even though there wasn't a lot of schooling, just so that they could do makeup work and stuff like that. But so Michael has things like wake up, get dressed, stuff like that, like basic stuff. He has level 1 personal hygiene, which is teeth and face. I don't know, level 1, I guess that's zombie. Then my boys have pigs, so they have to feed their pigs. We also have a physical exercise in there because we just think if they start the day out with something, it will be helpful. So if that is like a 5-minute video, or if that's a run around the house, whatever that is for the family. If they have a soccer ball and they want to go in the backyard and kick the soccer ball around for 10 minutes, I think some sort of physical activity is kind of nice. He's got breakfast, shower, chores. Then at about noon is when he has them start on their working lunch. So he has them doing schoolwork, and it says no phones in that part. But he has them doing schoolwork for a couple of hours in that time. We just thought kind of midday for us works great. And so for K through 5, the amount of work that they will have in a day is no more than an hour and a half, just so you know.
Great.
Yeah, 30 minutes of language arts, 30 minutes of math, it's still going to be at your own pace, but about 30 minutes of science. So for K5, about an hour and a half is all that will be expected of them. And then for secondary grades, it's going to be more like 3 to 4 hours a day. Okay. So I think that's the biggest thing that I kind of wrote about too on my little sheet, was that the day that you're going to give your kids won't mirror their school day, right? So it's going to be very focused and much more intensive instruction for a very short amount of time. So we kind of put different things in our schedule. After the working lunch is another physical activity. We have a basketball hoop, so they can go out and play basketball. So then the boys also have to read for an hour. We also have family devotional on our schedule, and then family movie night, video game improvement. So our biggest thing with this schedule is we just didn't want our boys to sit around and just get sucked in their video games, because that's going to be for their little brains. And I mean, my kids, that's what they want to do a lot of the day. So we did the schedule for us too, so that we could say, hey, it's 9 o'clock. You're not supposed to be on your video game right now. What are you supposed to do? Oh, you're supposed to be out exercising. This is your exercising block. So just to block up your day in a way that is somewhat structured, but also has enough time to do fun things and some academics. Does that help?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great answer. I really like that. I mean, obviously kids need recess, and then if you ask 6th graders like Faith, she's like, I miss recess. So, I think adding that in is beautiful. Another question was, how long, I mean, we've said how long the school district is saying, but how long do you think your kids should spend schooling each day?
For the boys, I would say 3 hours is that will be that's the max amount of, I mean, we could break it up a little bit, but we thought we would just get them started, and when they're done with their schoolwork, then they can go out to their basketball, to take a brain break out there. Right. But I have a high school student, and I have one that is in 8th grade, and the max that I am going to have my boys do any sort of schooling is 3 hours a day. That's my own thing. I just don't think that you can ask for, because at school they have lunch. I know Luke has pottery. Yeah. Jake has woodworking and welding. So he has all these classes that really, on top of his core classes, that are kind of brain stimulating. And so I just don't want my kids to sit in front of their computer for many more than 3 hours. And in kindergarten through 5th, an hour and a half. I would not go. If you have 2 kids, I'd sit kind of close to both of them and check in with them. I'd say from start to finish, you could probably finish everything in an hour and a half to 2 hours, even if you're doing both. The
Wow.
biggest thing is I just don't think that it is going to be beneficial for parents for it to take their entire evening. Even as a teacher, I would say, then just pick something and don't do it, right? Like if it's taking so much and it's so stressful, I would just say that might be something you push for another day, because it's just not worth adding a bunch of strife. It's not worth giving up peace in your home for. And the best thing I know here in Albany County, we are very fortunate because we're going into this as teachers with relationships with their parents, with their siblings. That's most important, and then the academics is second. So that's kind of our approach. So just kind of keep that in mind. Does that help?
No, that's great. And then I think the biggest thing that everyone is asking is, how can we help them as parents or as whoever's leading this? How can we help them focus?
Sure. Yeah. So I think splitting their day up a little bit will help them focus. I think the boys have basketball right now because that's what they do when they want to go out or ride the four-wheeler on the land. But if they know that after they're done with this time period, they can go to basketball, I think that is beneficial. When your kids go to school, the biggest thing they see, and you see it, I think everyone has seen it when you walk into a classroom, is on the chalkboard is their daily schedule. When art comes, when recess comes, having that schedule and having your kids know that there's something coming up can kind of help with engagement. It'll help them know that there's an end in sight to this academic time. Also, I think I will share it. I have some brain break activity ideas under this video. I will share it. So kind of just writing some different brain breaks down on maybe a popsicle stick or on pieces of paper and putting them in a cup or a bag and then pulling them out. So if you notice that your kids they're not getting this, like this lady from Wit and Wisdom, we'll see what that means tomorrow, is reading us a story. And you can tell that they just need a break. There's just a lot of different brain break activities, whether that is some yoga poses or that is doing 10 jumping jacks, and then doing stimulating your brain will be very beneficial to the focus, because we have students and we know they can't sit on the carpet for 30 minutes. So getting them to work for an hour and a half is going to be tough. Right. So honestly, the smaller the kids, the more they're probably going to need the lesson broken up, if you can do that. If you can do the language arts and then give them a break, and then if you can do the math and then give them some sort of a break, physical movement of some sort, or a snack. It's amazing what a snack break will do. Saying 10 more minutes. I mean, I know I like snack breaks, but 10 more minutes and then you get a snack break. I just think that little things like that, either built in the schedule, or if you notice them start to just lose focus, I would say stop trying to get them to focus in that moment. Honestly, disengage with the lesson, let them go outside for an hour, let them have a video game break or something, and then come back. I just think if we do too much trying to just push it on them, they're not going to get it.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Well, I think that answers the questions that we had parents post. And then for those of you guys, Melissa mentioned it, but she's going to post this really awesome page of just fun things. I've already seen a glimpse of it to help you guys. But before we sign off, is there anything else you would like to add, Melissa?
One more thing I wrote down over here for smaller kids, play is so powerful. So if they're in the middle of a lesson and they're not doing well, or it's just not working, have a play break. Go play with the play kitchen, go do something else. Play is going to be so powerful for the little ones. And the last thing I would say is Academics are important, but there's a ton of other skills that your kids are learning during this time. So do not think that, oh, we didn't get to everything today, but we did go make dinner together, or we made cookies. That kind of time is so powerful, sometimes more important than the academic. So don't be afraid to have your day go crazy and go, you know what, we're done, we're not doing it. Step away, do something different, start again the next day. So don't be so hard on yourself.
That's awesome. Well, thank you, Melissa. We're going to go ahead and sign this off, and then, yeah.
If anyone has questions, just go ahead and look me up. I'm sure Dakota can give you information on how to get a hold of me. But I'm here teaching from home, and I am more than happy to help anyone. So let me know.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Bye.